uppercut, uppercut, sonic boom. It's time to talk about the AUG, the weapon that I believe is the #1 5.56 weapon in PUBG Mobile. Well, AR, the Mini 14, says, hello, I exist. If you want to know everything there is to know about this gun, the recoil, the range, the best use, some of the setup tips, the sensitivity, and more, and a little bit of the history, then I'm going to break that down for you right now. Watch on. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and why not leave a comment if you think, hey, maybe you should think about this weapon here, or how about that one? Anyway, onwards and upwards. To tell the story of the AUG in PUBG Mobile correctly, we need to go back quite a ways. Once upon a time, the AUG was in a crate. It was the only 5.56 AR in a crate. And I made a video debunking a lot of myths. There was an arm. Look, I'm going to show you the video. This is actually from 21st November 2018. I couldn't believe it when I opened this thing up. It's me doing a double 360 no-scope to win a chicken dinner. 17 kills. How bad? 18 kills. How bad do you think they were back then? This is the armory back then. There used to be an armory and it had the firing speed, the range, the power, the recoil, and it was all bollocks. Every single 5.56 AR in the game had exactly the same rate of fire and exactly the same amount of damage. And I tested it and I proved it, and then everyone was like, holy hell, why is the AUG in a crate? And they weren't wrong, because the AUG was in a crate. It was an airdrop weapon and it had the same stats as every other PUBG Mobile 5.56 AR. All that's changed dramatically since then. They upped the damage of the AUG and they upped the rate of fire a little bit. And then they dropped the damage of the AUG and they upped the rate of fire a lot. And it's now in a place where it's really kind of unique. And for PUBG Mobile, this is pretty important. They've done a lot of stuff to make the AUG, the QBZ95, the SCAR-L, the M416 different weapons. And it's not just the damage. They also really lowered the reload speed on the AUG. One of the big negatives when it was in a crate was it was a bullpup style weapon. And because of that, the PUBG Mobile guys decided to go with realism and give it an extraordinarily long reload time. So imagine that. You come up to a crate, you've got an M416, and PUBG Mobile want you to pick up an AUG instead that has the same damage, the same rate of fire, the same recoil, and a longer reload. No, thank you. So the AUG that we have now, all about rate of fire. The M416, considered by pretty much everyone who doesn't watch my channel to be the #1 must-have weapon in PUBG Mobile, has a rate of fire of 638 rounds a minute. The AUG has a rate of fire of 779 rounds per minute. It's like a 20+% increase on the top. Has the same damage. And if you want to tell me that the AUG's recoil isn't as good as the M416's, I will say, fine, fair enough. But please tell me how in actual practical use the AUG's recoil is worse. Like it's like saying, sure, you need to get from A to B in under 10 seconds, and this guy does it in 9.5, and this guy does it in 9.3. But the main thing is you get to A to B in under 10 seconds. Well, that's what the AUG does. The AUG is an excellent spray weapon. It is absolutely brilliant, and it has a wonderful, wonderful ability to mount a laser sight as its lower rail attachment, and then be used in a way that the SCAR-L also is very good, as a pure CQC weapon. Only the AUG has better recoil, in my opinion, than the SCAR as a CQC hip-fire weapon. And its fast rate of fire means when you're in real tight situations, it just outputs the damage so much quicker, and it allows you to have a bigger margin of error. What I mean by that is if you're firing the same kind of basic round with an M416, but you're firing it 20% faster, then a missed shot isn't going to be as brutal because you're just firing more of them. It's such a great weapon for that. The fact that it can mount all kinds of things like ergonomic grips and muzzle brakes and jungle mags for improved. I mean, it also gets to use aim assist on its sprays, and it can tap fire. It's pretty much a jack of all trades. Is it better, say, than a Graza? Well, I'd take the Graza just because of the pure raw damage output of a Graza. But they're about the same in terms of number of rounds fired, and the Graza is a very limited weapon compared to an AUG. It does not have anywhere near the versatility of an AUG. Look at these sprays with a 2x and a red dot and a 3x and a 6x and a 4x. This is by far and away probably the most underrated weapon in PUBG Mobile. And that's saying something, because I think people... Well, look, let me say it this way. Because I think probably the Mark 14 is the most underrated in terms of what the gun actually does versus what the player base thinks of the weapon. But in terms of just pure not picking a gun up that does exactly what you want it to do, the AUG is... it's unmatched. Every man and his dog wants to run the M416. The AUG does everything the M4 does. It just does it faster. And the player base is already conditioned to want the AUG. It's so weird that it doesn't run it more often. Every time you loot someone, there's an M416 in their box. There's this weird built-in bias with the player base where they've just seen the M416 work, so they're just going to keep using the M416. Even if it means they're missing out on opportunities to be better. And you really should, because if you come up in a CQC fight, AUG versus M4, you're winning that CQC fight. Like, if all things being equal, skill level, ping, the AUG's winning. It's just not a contest. It's got more grunt. It's got more horsepower. It goes faster from 0 to 100. Like, there's no way around it. And it's easy to use. Personally, I run, when possible, muzzle brake, ergonomic grip, jungle man. If I can only have a compensator for AR, I will then often run it with a laser sight instead. Because you're using an AUG as a primary for me. It's too good not to use as a primary. It's wasted as just you being your spray weapon. Unless you've got a crate weapon like a P90 or an MG3 or a Graza, or you want to run a 7.62 AR like an AKM or a Beryl M762. And there are reasons to run all these weapons, different reasons. Then the AUG's going to be the one that I run. But what a lot of people don't do is suit the weapons to their playstyle. If you don't love spraying and you love running a bolty, oh my god, the AUG is your new cult. It is your new hero, because it is so good at just being a primary AR that does all the things you need a primary AR to do, out to extremely long ranges. Then you get to use your bolty as well. And because it's a AR, it gets a very strong alpha strike. 40.9 is higher than all the SMGs, bar the Tommy and UMP. What are you waiting for? Pick up the AUG, tell them Bushka sent you, and have a good time. Easy recoil, incredible bullet speed. God, we forgot to mention the bullet speed. Like, it's got over 900 meters a second bullet speed. That's sensational. It means the round gets there quicker. It just gets there quicker. Why wouldn't you run the AUG? In fact, why would you run anything else? I think it's the best 5.56 AR in the game. That includes the FAMAS, which is an absolute disaster of an airdrop weapon with the worst iron sights in the game, and like way too fast a rate of fire for the amount of rounds that it has, and then coupled with a longish reload, and not just a long reload, but a really weird recoil profile. Like, they say it's the most stable 5.56 AR in the game. And I'm going to do a video on the FAMAS. because I'm doing a video on underperforming weapons, and that is definitely going to be one of them. Anyway, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave comments below. Let us know how you feel about the world and stay safe out there on the battlefield. Bye for now.